Okay, it is Friday about 1:30 p.m., October the 21st, 2016, and this is DelrayVAWeather.com. Okay, we're going to talk about the upcoming winter 2016-17 and the expected amount of snow this winter, as well as the expected average temperature. I normally wait until the first week in November to make this video, but actually a lot of things have come together in the last week that I think it makes it worth doing now. Let me just shut down my phone here. Okay, and basically, what we're looking at, I'm going to go through the details of the logic for this prediction and explain why there's some limitations this year. This year is very difficult to predict or put a range on the snow, and I'll go into that as well. Okay, as far as the temperature is concerned, I've been doing some original research for the immediate area around Washington Reagan National Airport, and I should mention as well as everything I say has to do with at Washington Reagan National Airport or nearby, and we're talking about Arlington, Alexandria, the district, within a few miles of Reagan National Airport. I am not talking about Dulles Airport. I'm not talking about Richmond Airport. Those snow totals are going to be different for those locations compared to inside the Beltway. And so just to keep that in mind. Okay, like I said, I've been doing some original research, and I developed an index that indicates that this winter should be colder than average winter, and I'm projecting for November, December at least a 62 probability that we will have more than 16 days with lows below 32 degrees Fahrenheit. For January, February, we got a 76% probability of more than 38 days below freezing. And March, we have the potential 58% probability of less than 8 days. In other words, March would probably be a warmer than average month. But for purposes of this discussion, I'm going to be basically talking just about November, December, January, and February. I'm not going to talk about March this year. So we're treating the winter as those 4 months. Okay, from that analysis, we can expect a colder than normal winter. It's also supported by the Cohen Eurasian Snow Index. That usually comes out the first week of November. But there was recently Judah Cohen issued a preliminary analysis that clearly shows that the Eurasian snow cover is ahead of last year, and last year it indicated a cold mid-Atlantic East Coast winter. So it fits with the research that I've been doing. Okay, what does that mean as far as colder than normal winter? Well, I'm projecting 115% colder than average. And if you you do the calculations, I'm talking about for the entire winter, the average temperature should be about 33.2 degrees Fahrenheit. The normal for the Reagan National is 38.2 degrees Fahrenheit. That's the average temperature. So definitely going to be a cold winter. Okay, now we're going to get to the, you need two things for snow. You need to have a substantial period of temperatures 32 degrees or less. And we're talking about, needs to be in that 32 degrees or less for a 24-hour period, really to cold soak the ground so any snow that falls will stick and accumulate. Snow will fall if you have at least about 34 degrees Fahrenheit. But at 34, if the ground is similar to that air temperature, it's probably going to melt. So we're talking about in order to get a accumulation of snow, we're going to need at least 32 degrees or less, and moisture. If we don't have moisture, the temperature can be 0 degrees and you're not going to get any snow. So we need those two factors to coincide, usually in a 12-hour to 15-hour period, really to start seeing accumulation. This year, basically the moisture in the wintertime is a direct result of the ENSO, what you commonly hear is the El Nino, La Nina type of weather. It's basically sea surface temperature in the central Pacific that determines whether it's a El Nino or La Nina, and the scientific term is ENSO for that sea surface water. Okay, according to the latest National Weather Service analysis, which was just issued a few days ago, October the 17th, we are currently in a neutral condition. We're neither El Nino or La Nina. We're in the middle right now. And what they're projecting as of a few days ago is that La Nina should develop, has a 70% chance during the fall, this fall, sometime between now and December the 20th, La Nina. However, for the winter, that would be December the 20th through March the 20th, there's only a 55% chance at this time that we would be in a La Nina. So there's only 55% chance right now, according to National Weather Service, that we are actually going to have a La Nina winter. That is critical to really predict what the snow amounts would be in the DC area. So the fact that we only have a 55% chance of being in a La Nina, I basically looked at what would be the snow amounts in a non-El Nino winter. That means a neutral winter plus a La Nina winter. What would that range be, combining those two and excluding the El Nino, since we definitely won't have an El Nino winter this year. Okay, so doing that calculation, if we treat the winter as a non-El Nino winter, that includes the La Nina and neutral years, a total of 22 years since 1981, that amounts to the non-El Nino winters. And this includes the winter of 1995-96, where the total snow was 46.1 inches. Because of the blizzard of 1996, it was in January, I believe. So if we have 22 years that meet the conditions of a non-El Nino winter since 1981, and that includes that blizzard year. The average snow total included over those 22 years is 12 inches at Reagan National, and the median is 10.3. Now, if you have a normal distribution of snow amounts, generally the average is going to be very close to the median. The average is you add up all the figures and divide by the total number. That's the average. In a median, you find the value in which half of the values are above that value and half are below that value. And in a normal distribution, those two numbers usually are very close together. Now, if we do the average and calculate the median, this is what we did get. Is like one would be, say, the average is 10.3, or rather 12.0, and the median is 10.3. So that suggests that actually we don't have a normal distribution if we total up all 22 years. However, if we drop the one outlier, the 46-inch year, 1995 to 96, and average the remaining years, which would be those 21 years that would be non-El Nino, the average snow total is 10.3 and the median is 10.2, very close. So if we eliminate the outlier, the remainder of the 22 or 21 years behaves like a normal distribution. And that's kind of critical if we're going to assign probabilities of certain ranges of snow totals. Okay, and here just indicates the support for dropping that 1 year. Taking a snow range of plus or minus 1 standard deviation around the average, this is basically what we get. With the non-El Nino winters, we have a 68% probability of a final total for the season of between 5.4 inches and 15.1 inches. And that also means that you have a 16% probability you're going to get more than 15.1 inches, and you have a 16% probability that you're going to get less than 5.4. But the bulk of the probabilities do exist within this one range. Okay. Now, of course, like I just said, I excluded that 1 year, 95-96, from the calculations. But could we get this winter get a 46-inch snowfall like the 1995 and 96 winter? And I should mention there's some meteorologists that are using the 95-96 as an analog of this winter. But I don't really think that's too valid. My thinking along that line is really winter 95-96 was a weak La Nina winter, so potentially it would be very similar to this winter, which again there's a 55% chance that we would be in a La Nina this winter. And in all likelihood, it will be a weak La Nina. But the problem is that it's projected to be a weak La Nina in the fall, and then potentially it could be a neutral in the for the winter. So we really don't know too much about what we really are going to have this winter at this point. October 1995 was also one of the wettest and warmest on record. Actually, October 95 had 8.65 inches of rain just in that 1 month, and was deviated from the average temperature by 2.6 degrees. That's quite a warm October. October 2016, at least so far, has been very dry. It's only had 0.61 inches, which is a departure it's down about 1 inch and 3/4 actually. So that's one difference we have, and it is a warm October so far, so that fits. But again, it's showing that our October is more dry, and I infer from that we're potentially going to have more of a dry winter this year, which is again important for the snow totals. Interestingly enough, October 1995, Hurricane Opal came up the Blue Ridge Mountains and caused most of the wet conditions. Most of that 8 inches was from Hurricane Opal. Of course, this month, Hurricane Matthew missed DC and added little moisture to us. Okay. So if we look at all the possible types of winters that we can have a La Nina, a neutral, or an El Nino winter. And if you do the analysis back to 1981, the total has been more than 16 inches for a La Nina, more than 16 inches only one winter, and that computes out to about 10%. In neutral winters, which a total was 12, the total snow has been 16 inches or more only one winter. That's again only 10% that we would have over a 16-inch total for the season. And finally, in an El Nino winter like we had last year, again there was 10 of those. The total has been 16 inches or more, 5 of those 10. So we're talking about 50% in an El Nino winter that would have quite a bit more than normal snowfall. Okay, so taking this analysis, I really don't think we're going to have a large snowfall this year. It's going to be under 16 inches total. Okay, again, there are 4 possibilities of what this winter actually could be, one of which is not going to happen. It's not going to be El Nino. So that gives us just 3 possibilities. If we look at the winter as a non-El Nino winter, that means not a El Nino, there's 21 of those, dropping the 95, 96. The total seasonal snowfall at Reagan National was between 5.4 and 15.1, and that's the range right now that I think is the best guess for us this winter. If the winter turns out to be a La Nina winter, 9 of those since 1981, the total seasonal snow at Washington Reagan was 4.5, between 4.5 and 12.4, and that, again, that's plus or minus 1 standard deviation. If the winter turns out to be a neutral, there's 12 of those since 1981. We have a range between 6.5 and 17.1. So if we end up as a neutral winter rather than a La Nina winter, then we probably are going to get a little bit, potentially a little bit more snow than if it was simply a variant of that, where we have a little bit of La Nina and a little bit of neutral. And that's why I'm saying that what I'm predicting right now is probably going to end up getting modified the end of December, because after December the 20th, we should have a good idea of whether this is going to be a neutral winter or a La Nina winter. Okay, I think I'm going to leave it there. This is a graph I showed you before, and it has to do with the probability of a given month having more than 4 inches of snow. But actually, the key takeaway here is that as of right now, I think we're going to have a below normal total snow this year. I think it's going to fall within about 5.5 inches and slightly over 15 inches. And it's going to be colder than normal. You're going to have more days in which the lows are below 32 and potentially substantially below 32. Okay, so I'll wrap it up there. If you have any questions, just give me a tweet at PatPend, that's PATPEND, and I'll try and answer them. Thanks a lot.